It's one of the biggest paradoxes when it comes to money. Spending your whole life building a fortune, getting everything you could ever possibly need, and then risking it all for something you don't. I mean, how does that even happen? How can someone who has clearly won the financial game just keep playing until they lose everything? This question, it really gets to the very heart of our relationship with money. So today we're diving into a really powerful idea from Morgan Housel's The Psychology of Money. And this chapter isn't about how to make more, but about a skill that's way, way harder, knowing when to stop. To really get our heads around this impulse, let's look at a couple of cautionary tales. Now, these are pretty extreme examples, for sure, but they reveal a powerful and honestly a universal truth about human nature. Okay, let's talk about two people, Rajat Gupta and Bernie Madoff. Both of these guys were already at the absolute peak of their fields. Gupta was a super respected CEO with a net worth of over $100 million. Madoff was an incredibly powerful financier. I mean, they had everything they needed and then some. And yet, one committed insider trading for a pretty small gain, and the other orchestrated the biggest Ponzi scheme in history. They both risked what they had and needed for something they absolutely did not. So that really begs the question, right? Why? It clearly wasn't about needing more money to live on. So what in the world was driving them to the point of complete self-destruction? Well, as Housel points out, the answer wasn't about money at all. It was something much, much deeper. It was about ego. It was that insatiable desire for more status, more admiration from others. It was an addiction to staying on top no matter what it cost. And this crazy desire for status, it's all fueled by this really powerful psychological engine. Something every single one of us faces, whether we have $10 in our pocket or $10 billion. It's the comparison trap. Think about it this way. The ceiling of social comparison is so high that nobody ever actually reaches it. It's a battle that you just cannot win. The only way to win is to refuse to play the game in the first place. And that's exactly why comparison is a recipe for misery. It doesn't matter how much you accomplish, there will always be someone richer, someone who got there younger, or someone who just seems to be luckier. If you're constantly looking over your shoulder, you'll never feel like you've actually arrived. Okay, but look, this isn't just a problem for billionaires, right? This exact same mindset plants financial landmines in our own everyday lives. I mean, does this sound familiar to you? Maybe you see a friend get rich on some risky stock or crypto, and you feel that pull, that urge to jump in and take on way more risk than you should, just to catch up. Yeah, that's the comparison game at work. Or hey, how about this one? Every time you get a raise, does your spending seem to magically rise right along with it? That's what we call lifestyle creep. The goalposts for what's enough just keep moving because you're trying to keep up with the lifestyles you see all around you. And then, of course, there's good old FOMO, the fear of missing out. You have a great investment, it hits your target price, but you don't sell. Why not? Because you see other people bragging about their gains, and you start thinking, what if it goes even higher? Greed, totally fueled by comparison, takes the wheel. All of this really brings us to a super powerful realization from Morgan Housel. He says, enough is realizing that an insatiable appetite for more will push you to the point of regret. That single sentence, that's the antidote. Okay, so if this insatiable appetite is the problem, what's the solution? Well, it's about defining what enough actually is. But how do we do that? Luckily, Housel gives us a pretty simple 3-step framework to protect ourselves. First, you have to define what enough means for you, not your neighbor, not your colleague. What income, lifestyle, and freedom do you really need? Second, stop playing other people's games. Their scorecard is totally irrelevant to you. And third, prioritize longevity. The goal isn't just getting rich, it's staying wealthy. You see, this really requires a fundamental shift in how we think. It's not about the flashy cars or big numbers you can brag about. It's about building durable, lasting security. Wealth that lasts is always, always better than wealth that just impresses. So you might be asking, what's the point of all this then? If it's not about winning some crazy comparison game, what are we actually working for? What's the real prize here? Because knowing you have enough, well, it buys you things that are so much more valuable than just stuff. It buys you peace of mind. It buys you safety from all of life's ups and downs. And most importantly, it gives you control over your own time. And that is the ultimate form of wealth. So, at the end of the day, the goal of building wealth isn't about having more than the person next to you. The real, tangible goal is freedom. In the next chapter, we'll look at how compounding quietly creates enormous wealth over time and why patience matters more than talent. If this video resonated with you, hit like, subscribe if you want to build wealth without destroying your peace.